Ooh, I like that filter. Hey guys, it's me again, and I wanted to speak today about assertive or aggressive. What would you choose to be? And so just quickly, because like the last talk I spoke for way too long, so I'll get as much info out as I can. But to start it off with, imagine thinking that you're having a good conversation with someone where the exchange of communication seems to be pleasant and enjoyable and you feel relaxed, and there comes a certain time where you feel that you can safely state a certain opinion on a matter and you feel a certain type of bonding with that person, and that seems fine except for the part that when you unbeknowingly say something that all of a sudden out of nowhere triggers the other party, and they then react with a tone that's louder than it was before, and now they're on the defensive, and the response is a bit embarrassing because there might be neighbours who can hear them, speaking loudly to you, or there might be others who are, not in your personal space, but if you're out in public or you're at work or something, and they can hear the intensity of that other person's reaction. And to be honest, in all honesty, raising your voice to someone as a reaction to being triggered is aggressive. So it shows that you have a bad temper that you can't control. And to others, they might say in their defense is that they're very passionate on that subject, and that's why they act the way that they do. But raising your voice because you feel offended isn't passion, it's aggression. And aggression is a form of violence. So you actually, when you're doing that, you're being violent. And believe me, even I have to learn from my own words, because I've also been guilty of this before, where I've gotten angry and triggered over certain things that certain people do. And yeah, I too have been aggressive in my past. And so to me, when someone's doing that to me, I see that as a red flag. And I use red flags in all of my relationships, not just in my love relationships, but I use red flags in my work relationships. I use red flags in my family relationships, in my friendships. Did I already say that? And yet my love relationships, because I know that even if they apologized, chances are that soon enough this behavior will happen again, unless they are really working on it, like speaking to a relationship therapist, or going to some coaching to help them to get through their aggression, because if they don't acknowledge it and sort of try and work on it, it will happen again, and it can snowball into situations where the aggression becomes more and more violent. And that's only if you let it. So someone who is easily offended or triggered without warning is like a loose cannon, okay? And you might never know when they're about to go off. It's like you're walking on eggshells. And a lot of us, most of us have been in that situation around people who, we call them the grump, or, oh, that's the, watch out, she's the witch, the evil witch of the West, and blah, blah, blah. If you're around someone who can go off at any given time, you're always going to be on guard. And many of us, like I said, can relate to that, because perhaps we've had to live with someone in our family who's always very hot-headed about certain small things, like leaving the cap off the toothpaste, or, putting the toilet roll onto the holder the wrong way. But let me just say, there are two ways to deal with your disapproval of whatever it was that is offending you. And one way is by being assertive, and the other way is by being aggressive. And really, the world we live in has only mainly focused on getting their view or their opinion across to the rest of the world by being aggressive. So we've kind of been conditioned or learned that that's the only way that we can get our point across. And I mean, take a look at our policing system, the police, the military system, our educational system, our correctional facilities system. These systems all force their values and their opinions on us, regardless of whether they are right or wrong. They force them over to us, poor little members of the community, in aggressive forces of action. So we have been conditioned to believe that that's how you do it. That's how you, I mean, but if we're looking at it individually as people, these types of people might think that they're quite harmless because they call themselves strict and they don't take shit from anyone, and they've got rules that they believe that they're being tough for because, it's tough love, and they need to be authoritarian in the matter, kind of like an army sergeant or a lieutenant or something like that, and it gives them that right. They feel that they have that right, that when they're being provoked, if somebody's playing up, sometimes that they believe that they're entitled to have fits of rage and fits of anger in order to maintain their power over us. That's pretty much what it's all about, is their power over us. And they are allowing themselves to feel that anger and that aggression. It's like the dad who grabs his belt out to whack his son on the ass with it, and he says, "Oh, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you." And, a lot of people will say, well, it's all right to whack your kids, even if it's just a little whack, on the bum. And I think to myself, well, how much is a little whack as opposed to a massive whack? Like, when does it get to the point where it's abuse? How do we monitor that? Like, is it you whack them and they don't leave a mark on the bum? Or if you whack them that hard, then that's abuse. But if you whack them that hard, or say, okay, so it's okay to whack your kids if it's just a little smack, but is it okay for a guy to whack his missus, or a missus to whack her man? Just a slap on the face, not a punch in the face, because that's abuse. But what about just a slap, or just a quick push on the jawbone? Is that just nobody's allowed to hit a woman. No partner should hit their other partner. So then why is it okay for someone to hit their kids, even if it is a little bit? Because aren't kids' skin, aren't they thinner than a woman or a man's skin? So I reckon that in regards to any kind of hitting, maybe we should just call it all violence and just chuck it into the I can't be bothered figuring out how much of a whack someone should get, and just put it all into the violence basket and just not hit anybody at all for anything. I mean, another example is, are you happy for the strap to come back into the schooling system so that your kids can get a strap or a whack from the teacher for making mistakes? I mean, if that's the case. And a lot of people will say, well, yeah, I mean, if they did something wrong, then I'd be like, well, okay, then we'll go back to then it must be okay for a guy or a chick to just give their partner a bit of a smack, just to, wake them up a bit. And that's when people will stand their ground and say, no, that's abuse. Well, then I'm just going to have to say that maybe all types of whacking is abuse. And yeah, it's definitely the sign of narcissism, aggression, whether it be physical, whether it be emotional, whether it be verbal. It's all narcissism. But what it really is a sign of someone who demands authority over whoever they are doing it to. And it starts with them needing to get their point across, and it ends up with them demanding that authority. And that, my friends, is not assertiveness, that's aggression. Now, let's talk about the consequences of it. When someone's constantly afraid of offending someone who's really upset, their negative emotions are heightened, so their stress levels get higher than usual. It can cause anxiety, difficulty in concentrating, worry, trauma, depression, nervousness, distress, pushed to the limit, harassed, etc., etc. And it will affect their behavior at school or work, because they're going to be focusing more on not pissing off that person than they are on being productive at work. And they're going to pretty much do a shit job. So they'll be so afraid of pissing off that person that they're going to do a shitty job at work or at school. And the consequences of that is that they're probably, because they're not able to put as much focus on their workmanship, either at school or at work, is that, well, at school they could fail their exams, and then, you know, they feel like they've let down their parents, they've let down their teachers, their friends at school, they've let down themselves, and then they go and they get depressed, and you know, and that as a teenager is a nice well, not nice, I was just being sarcastic, but it's a welcoming to, yes, welcome to the world of depression as a young adult, because hey, that's just what so many of our young adults are going through right now, is that type of depression, and it leaves a lot of them. It's a snowball effect as well. And the thing is also at work, you know, is that they do a shit job at work, and then their boss thinks they're useless. Everybody thinks they're useless, and they think that they're useless, and it could even lead to them, you know, not excelling very well at work, and they might even lose their job. So all of these are consequences of someone who was aggressive. And it's emotional and physical consequences as well. So you can become depressed, very ill. Your diet may change. You may resort to doing drugs or alcohol more, or doing stupid things, and it's just a snowball effect. So those are all the consequences that could possibly happen. Now, so because of all of this rubbish and bullshit, I've actually released certain people from my life throughout the years, and at times they've actually let themselves be free from my life, which is good for me. That's great. So I've wasted many years with people who are verbally, emotionally, or physically aggressive, and to be honest, I just don't have time to waste on violence of any kind. And you know, being assertive is one of the hardest qualities for some of us to carry out. So, you know, once you get rid of anything that's toxic in your life, then you've got to figure out, well, okay, so now what do I do? Now where am I going? Well, you're going to have to concentrate on being assertive, as opposed to being around people who are aggressive. And being assertive is a hard quality for someone to carry out, because for someone who has never been an assertive person before, because they might have always been an aggressive person before, it can be quite hard for them to be assertive, because sometimes you will hear certain things that piss you off or offend you, and you don't say anything straight away. And that's what assertiveness is when you say something straight away, and you don't say it in anger, you just say it. And the anger builds up because you're hearing it over and over again. So like I said, it's like a snowball effect, and then all of a sudden, bang, you just get aggressive, because, you know, it's like, you know, I really wanted to just let that out of my system, and I'm really pissed off about whatever it was. And it's the same thing as trying to have that authority over whoever it is that just pissed you off, I guess. Now, how do we be assertive if we don't know how to be? And why don't we want to be assertive? Because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, do we? But we would rather go and have a look at the consequences of being aggressive as opposed to being assertive. So it's better to look at being assertive and to do it straight away. It's a healthy characteristic, okay? It's healthy. It's emotionally, it's mentally, and physically, verbally healthy to do. It shows that you're ethical, you've got ethics. It shows that you're reasonable. So, you know, if you're being assertive, you're doing it with reason. You're doing it because you're honest. You're being assertive because when you're honest, it makes you honorable, okay? And you're doing it because you're concerned, because you care. And when you care, it means that you're kind and you're kind-hearted. Why are you kind-hearted? Because you feel obligated, you know, to say something. You want to say it because you've got good morals. You want to say it because you care. And why do you have good morals? Because you have good intentions. So these are some of the, you know, strengthening aids to remember. Reflect on the positive reasons as to why you would be assertive instead of aggressive. Don't worry about being embarrassed to say something. Just say it. You said it. You don't say it with anger. Just say it. Just say, oh yeah, but don't you think a da-da-da-da-da? And then that's it. You've said it. And if the person is offended, well, there's the red flag, isn't it? That's a red flag for you to remember, okay? Now, to be honest, we really should be assertive, because if we're going to have any type of relationship with somebody, working relationship, you know, school relationship, peers, social, love, family, whatever it is, you have to live with them, flatmates, whatever. You want it to be smooth sailing right from the get-go, and you're gonna want that, because not because you want to be best mates, but because you don't want to have all that stress. You know, remember I was saying you've got all that stress of anxiety and you know, traumatic feelings and depression, and you're not able to focus. Is that you don't want that in your life? You really don't, and it can actually snowball. Remember, the snowball effect is so important. A little tiny dot can really be a mask to something really big. It's like, you know, a little cancer dot on your arm or on your body could actually be something quite big. So we really have to nip it in the bud right away, straight away. So I just wanted to touch a little bit on that today. I don't want to talk for too long, because yesterday I was like talking for like 35 minutes, and I guess this talk will go into my domestic violence category maybe, which is actually a subcategory of one of my main categories. So like I had 16 different topics that I wanted to cover, you know. This is in regards to my type of coaching, and I'm trying to chop them down to 12. 12 is like a manageable amount, I suppose, but we'll see how we go. And, you know, they've all got to do with everyday life. You know, you've got relationships, love relationships, you've got families, and you've got career, and you've got health and fitness. And I know some have said to me that I should just focus on one type of issue, like relationships, because I've been through relationships. Or what about manifestation, manifesting what you want in your life, and all that type of thing. And to be honest, everything in life, you know, I wanted to do that, but everything seems to go hand in hand. It's not because I'm greedy and I want everyone. It's because everyone has not just one little thing in their life that they need to deal with. A lot of people have maybe 3 or 4 things that they want to deal with in their lives. And I'm not saying as well that a specified coach is not as good as somebody who can cover everything, because a specified coach is really effective if you really want to look into that certain category, if that's an interest in your life and you know what you want. And so nothing's better than anything, but it is good to touch on everything, because like I said, one thing can lead to another part of our lives, and we're all different as well. So I just thought, well, I'll just cover everything. And that's why it's been really slow for everything to take off in regards to, my business taking that next step. And I thought I had to come up with the answer to everything in life, and, write it all down and bring it out to people in some way in life. And that's when I thought, hang on a minute there, the answers are already out there. The real true job of a proper coach is to coach that person to be the best that they can possibly be in whatever the hell they want to work on. They've already got the answers. We're just the coach. And when I looked up coach, actually, on Google, and you've got the coaches, and you've got instructor, mentor, trainer, guru, all that type of thing. But then you've got coach, as in, like a coach when you're hopping into a train coach kind of thing, and it's transporting you from one destination to the other. And that's the kind of coach that I want to be, actually. It's like a transport system. I want you to enjoy your journey to your destination of where you want to be, or where you want to go. Where do you want to go? Well, let's fucking go, and let's enjoy it. I want you to see all that beautiful sunshine outside. I want you to enjoy your journey, have good food. I want you to enjoy the road to your success. And I want you to do it in a positive way. And I want to help you that way. And that's, that was my idea of what kind of coach I want to be. So yeah, anyway, so I've got it's getting really late. It's really late, actually. And I've got Jerome and Denise. So Jerome's like my son down Sydney, and Denise is my daughter down in Sydney, coming up here. Well, Jerome's already here, but Denise is coming up tomorrow morning. So going to meet up with them at the airport, and meet up with Jerome on the train and hook up. We're going to spend a week or so together, and it's going to be lovely. So it's going to be really good to catch up with my kids from down there, even though I haven't seen Shaniko for a while. She's my 17-year-old, and then you've got Azaria. So anyway, better let you guys go and get myself some rest, and much love to you all. Remember, you can message me for anything, any info, because my business will be actually really taking off very, very soon, where you might not be able to message me for much info soon, and you may not have access to a lot of my videos that I'm going to be doing as well. So any questions relating to work, send me through some messages, and I shall let you guys go. Okay, take care, and have a lovely, lovely day, and a lovely, lovely Easter. Bye, guys. See ya.